In football, some matches are remembered for brilliance, others are remembered for glory, but a few are remembered for shock. July 8, 2014 became one of those nights, a night when the world watched in disbelief as the most successful nation in World Cup history collapsed on its own soil. Brazil had waited 64 years for this moment. Since the painful loss in the 1950 World Cup final, the dream of lifting the trophy at home had haunted generations. In 2014, the opportunity finally returned. The World Cup was back in Brazil. Stadiums were full, streets were covered in yellow and green. The entire nation believed history would be rewritten. The Brazilian team carried enormous pressure. Neymar was the star of the tournament, the symbol of hope, the player expected to lead the country to glory. But just days before the semi-final, disaster struck. In the quarterfinal against Colombia, Neymar suffered a serious back injury after a brutal challenge. His tournament was over. Brazil had lost its biggest weapon. To make matters worse, Thiago Silva, the team's captain and defensive leader, was suspended for the semi-final. Suddenly, the team that had carried a nation's expectations looked fragile. But the opponent waiting in the semi-final was Germany, a team built on structure, discipline, and years of preparation. Germany had spent the previous decade building a new football philosophy. Their squad combined tactical intelligence with ruthless efficiency. Players like Philipp Lahm, Toni Kroos, Thomas Müller, and Miroslav Klose had developed into one of the most organized teams in the world. Still, few imagined what would happen next. The match began inside the Mineirão Stadium in Belo Horizonte. The atmosphere was electric. Tens of thousands of Brazilian supporters filled the stands, singing, hoping, believing. But in the 11th minute, Germany struck first. Thomas Müller found space inside the box and calmly finished from a corner, 1-0. The stadium fell quiet for a moment, but Brazil had recovered from early goals before. The crowd urged the team forward. What happened next felt unreal. In the 23rd minute, Miroslav Klose scored, 2-0. Klose's goal made him the all-time top scorer in World Cup history. But there was no time for reflection. 1 minute later, Toni Kroos scored again, 3-0. The Brazilian players looked stunned. The stadium was silent, but the nightmare had only just begun. In the 26th minute, Kroos scored again, 4-0. And seconds later, Sami Khedira added another, 5-0. 5 goals in less than 30 minutes. The Brazilian defense collapsed completely. Players stared at each other in disbelief. Fans cried in the stands. Cameras captured tears, shock, and confusion across the stadium. It felt impossible. Brazil, the country that had defined attacking football for generations, was being dismantled in front of the entire world. The first half ended with Germany leading 5-0. The scoreboard looked like a mistake, something that should not exist in a World Cup semi-final. When the second half began, the shock had not disappeared. Germany remained calm, precise, professional. Brazil attempted to respond with pride, but the structure was gone. In the 69th minute, Andre Schürrle scored again, 6-0. Minutes later, he added another spectacular finish, 7-0. The Mineirão Stadium had become a place of stunned silence. Some fans applauded Germany simply to acknowledge the performance they were witnessing. Others could only sit in disbelief. Near the end of the match, Oscar finally scored for Brazil, 7-1, a consolation goal that barely registered against the magnitude of what had already happened. When the final whistle blew, the scoreline became immortal. Germany 7, Brazil 1. It was not just a defeat,
It was one of the most shocking results in football history. For Brazil, the loss became known simply as the Mineirazo, echoing the trauma of the 1950 final, a night when expectations collapsed under pressure. For Germany, it was a demonstration of preparation and precision. Days later, they would go on to win the World Cup. But even that achievement did not overshadow the semi-final, because what happened in Belo Horizonte felt almost impossible. A match that lasted 90 minutes but changed football history forever. The 7-1 was more than a scoreline. It was a reminder that football, even at the highest level, can still produce moments nobody expects. A reminder that pressure can crush giants. And a reminder that sometimes the most unforgettable stories in sport are the ones nobody saw coming. If you want more legendary football stories told with depth and emotion, subscribe to the Football Vault and join us as we unlock the greatest moments the game has ever seen.